I hear we got a congratulations in the house. Whoop, 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 whoop. Yes or no? Does everyone know? Put your hands together for Nicola, who got first in the portrait. Was it the portrait? Amateur portrait at the New Zealand Institute of Professional Photographers today. And that is really cool for her. Well done. Whoop, whoop. That's for you at home as well. Welcome if you're here already. Sorry. Okay, so I'm Heidi. I'm emceeing for you tonight. I don't have to say very much because most of it's done by the people who are doing all the presenting. So just if you're new tonight, welcome. If it's your first time here, Steve, welcome. Night number 2. Okay, well done. If you are unfamiliar with the building, please make yourself familiar with the exit routes, should you require them. One here, front door, back door. Yeah, it's very simple. Also, the bathrooms are just out here too. If you've had a cup of tea, great. Just pop your cup back into the microwave, dishwasher. If you haven't had one yet, go out and make one and run back in. No one will mind. Okay, cool. So, just a quick few things for coming up. I would like them to come through, but it's 8 o'clock, so yes. We ding, ding, ding. Kevin, can you just ask those people to move into this room if they want to join us for this evening's presentation? Thank you. Now, I do keep fit, as a lot of you know, and I always like to start my classes on time and finish on time. I hate to start a class, and if someone's coming in late, that's their lookout. I'm off. So I'm a bit like that with this this committee, this area as well. So apologies. Yeah. Good. Are we all great to go? Come on, Alistair, with your 2 cups of tea. Is that one for me, is it? Is that one for... No, I'm all right, thanks. So we're all here. So a few notices. Tonight we're all going to see the audio-visual presentation, which is going to be absolutely amazing. I have a question because I'm not sure. Are we showcasing some of the your work, John, tonight? Next week. Okay, wonderful. Okay. Okay, fantastic. So next week we've got some amazing work to see with John Suckling's showcase of his work, your work that you've done with John. So that'd be really cool. And you know what it was about? I know what it's about. Noticing. So we're noticing next week, okay? Showcase. So if you haven't got anything in for the noticing showcase, I'm sure that you'll have time to put something in. Or even if you haven't done any work on it and you'd like to, I'm sure you've got time to do that, which would be great. So, are there any no, I'm fine, thanks. Any notices that anybody else would like to share for this evening? Because we can jump straight into. Have we got everyone on board from on the wave and the yeah? So we're also streaming live at the same time. So welcome to everybody who isn't able to make it here, who is watching. So John, would you like to come up and introduce your AV judge? And information on that.
Thank you, Heidi. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the 2025 CPS Audio Visual Competition. It's the only competition we have every year where you know the annual winner on the night. You don't have to wait till the final night. Tonight's judge is Kevin Clarke, who is a professional photographer. He's also an old CPS member who reckons he learned everything here about photography. And he's judging the old-fashioned way, which could explain something. So the order is irrelevant. So whatever order they come in, it's not going to have any effect on the final results. There's 7 entries, and apart from that, I'd just like to let Kevin run the rest of the show. Can you please welcome Kevin Clarke to the...
Cool. Oh, I am on. Look at that. Oh. nice, always nice to come back to CPS. Let's not do that, Kevin. That works better. It's always nice to come back to CPS. I've just been talking to our 30-year-old here in the room, Newell Grenfell, and I'm eternally grateful to him and people like him, past and present, that I wouldn't be who I am without their input when I first started here at CPS. I do this. I found out why I do this today. If you all do this and you're feeling a bit nervous, you do this, it creates delta waves, supposedly. Psychologist told me that today because I was doing it while I was talking earlier today. So this makes you feel better. And delta waves are the ones that you get just before you go into a deep sleep. So if I fall asleep on stage, you know why. Anyway, yes, I'm judging this the old-fashioned way, as John said. The order is immaterial. So what we're going to do is I judged them in the order they were on the when I looked at them. We're going to show the first one, then I'm going to give you my comments, then I'm going to show the last one in order, and I'm going to give comments after every one, because if we do them all together, guaranteed you won't remember what the first one was. Okay, so we treat them individually. They all deserve the utmost respect. I was impressed. There was stuff I liked, stuff I didn't like so much. But the way I judge AVs, because I do AVs constantly with photography. So is there a strong narrative and visual flow? Has the author defined their objective? Is the story structured, either by timeline or by color, linear or non-linear? Can I just turn the... Yeah. One, two, three. What comes after 3? 4, 5, 8. That's better. I do like the sound of my own voice, but not that much. So is the flow logical? Are the images of a high quality? Are the images engaging? Does the background music complement the mood and theme of the presentation? Because with AVs, it's a triangle. The music, the images, and the way you put them together create the AV. Every part is important. Is the voiceover effective in adding to the story? Does the soundtrack balance with the images and create a cohesive and pleasant audiovisual experience? Is the soundtrack timing in sync with the images? And most importantly, is the combined effect of the AV memorable? Does it have impact? Okay, so let's watch the first one, which is Adventures in the South Island. Thank you. I'll read out my notes, what I've said. The title did have me anticipating a more adventurous theme for this AV than the one given. There was no obvious storyline that could be followed through the image sequence, and the landscape theme was meandering until suddenly there were people in the images, and then there was snow. The soft soundtrack and slow movement of the images didn't really fit in with the adventure suggested in the AV title, and I was left disappointed. Titles are just as important. They are our guide to the story we are about to witness. With an AV, the first intro is the title, and that leads to an expectation. I felt that with the AV, the first image was your strongest, and I would suggest never leading with your strongest image. In a book or a gallery or portfolio, and especially not an NAV, you should lead in to your strongest. It felt as if the AV was in two parts, but there was no logical sequence to those two parts. It was the landscape, and then all of a sudden there was a person, but there was no intro for the viewer that you were going to be in there. You may know the sequence, but you need to make it, in the AV, you need to make it logical and easy for the viewer to understand the story that you're telling them, and I couldn't do that with this one, I'm sorry. Individually, the images, there were some fantastic images there, but collectively as an AV, it didn't work as well as it should have. AV is New Brighton. This portrayal of a typical day at New Brighton Beach is effectively communicated in this AV. The soundtrack lent itself well and implied a relaxed vibe that fitted with the image selection. I watched this, and straight away I felt calm and relaxed, and it took me back to the very, very few days I get these days where I can actually go for a stroll on New Brighton Beach. So it was very effective. The use of a simple diffused transition throughout also worked well within the relaxed theme. The one thing I had said was that, however, the transition choice midway through changed to a really quick, and it jarred a little bit. So when you're doing them, make sure that you're consistent throughout, that you stick with the theme that you've started with. Yeah, so interspersed throughout the latter half of the AV. But I've put in here that my suggestion to myself was that these were production line errors rather than deliberate. Although not all of the images were of a high quality, there were enough, and together they communicated the story well, and the interest of the viewer was maintained throughout. For me, this was a solid and effective story with a well-chosen theme. AVs don't have to have a fantastic subject. The best AVs are the ones that tell the story correctly, and this tells the story of a day at New Brighton Beach. Nice and simple. It works well. That's an acceptance. You're allowed to do a round of applause because it's an acceptance. Okay. The next one is City by Night. I like Snow Patrol. I like their music. Um, okay. Christchurch is a wonderfully vibrant city, both by day and especially by night, with so much to see and capture with our eyes, our hearts, and of course our camera. This collection of eclectic images individually are excellent, well exposed, well lit, well taken, well framed. Collectively, though, there was no vibrancy, no passion, and it all seemed very clinical and empty, at least until the last few images where the band appeared on stage. This feeling of emptiness was in direct contrast to the choice of soundtrack, which is vibrant and full of life. The AV felt flat and unappealing, and there were a number of very good individual images, but they were mostly lost in the lack of a recognizable sequence form. As an effective AV, this combination made the story seem muddled and ineffective. It is important to create a theme that fits, to have a beginning, a middle, and an end to the story, preferably a dramatic ending, or at least one that leaves the viewer engaged and gets them thinking. That sounds a bit tough when you're looking at it. As I say, individually, these images are great. If you were doing architectural photo or night shots, I'd be putting these into competition constantly, and you'd be winning, at the very least, acceptances. But when you put them together as an AV, there were a couple of things that jarred, especially for me, was that the Snow Patrol song, Take Back the Night, is at 140 beats, okay? The slideshow, when you're moving back and forward through images, was at about 60 beats. So straight away in your brain, you've got this sort of banging against each other that you're trying to get excited with the song and get moving with the song, but the images themselves are going very, very slowly. Like I was saying before, that triangle needs to work. The soundtrack, the images, and the way you put them together all have to gel cohesively. And unfortunately, in this case, I'm sorry, but this just didn't. But again, great images, really great images. I'd love to know what time you were out there, because I have never seen Christchurch so empty. Not since photos from the 1920s where you had to, or 1890s where you had to stand still for 10 minutes to be in a photograph. But yeah, I've never seen Christchurch so empty as that. It must be 3 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday morning. Well, not Sunday morning, Monday morning. But yes, sorry, I'd love to say different, but it is an AV competition. Next up is The Journey Home. Okay, journey home. An effective AV with a linear sequence of images captured on a journey back, obviously from central Otago back to Christchurch. The story isn't a dramatic one, but the normality of all, the flat light, the snapshot-like images as if taken from the car window, actually worked remarkably well to tell the story of a journey that seemed to have been done 1,000 times before. Even the title adds to this feeling. The soundtrack at first jarred Scarborough Affair. At first jarred until it too fitted in with its normality. It was like elevator music in the background. The word I've got here is the everydayness of it, if there is such a word. I've got the elevator music works well, the sequencing, the blandness of the landscape images, the soundtrack, and by blandness I mean that not that the images themselves were bland. I'm talking about the landscape. It's a very flat light. The snow and the snow on the ground and on the hillside kind of delete the colours. There's no bright colours at that time of year. So that's what I mean by blandness. In case you're thinking I'm talking about the images. The whole theme lends itself to the story of a journey taken so many times before, and it all blends together perfectly. This AV works, the story is told. My understanding of it may be totally skewed, but I'm the viewer. But it is all about perspective, and this is mine. And I've said highly commended. Next AV is Richmond.
was 21 years when I wrote this song.
Okay, an interesting take on the suburb with a nice section of images of local characters and locations that meandered kind of as much as the Avon does through that suburb. The sequencing worked well. Not sure about the inclusion of the cat though. However, I did feel that the flat voice over the Google facts and figures was a distraction. I have to admit, I thought I was listening to Siri when I was listening to the commentary. The commentary just jarred. Was a distraction, and the change to Paul Simon's Leaves of Green was too late to be effective. This change created a stop and go effect in the AV. This would also have been improved by having a background soundtrack that fitted the entire storyline, then adding a more enthused voiceover that leads the viewer through the storyline. Also, be consistent with your transitions, keeping them simple and fitting with the story's theme. The theme is factual. It's not romantic, it's a factual thing about Richmond and about the suburb. If it is factual, then the transitions need to be the same. It needs to fit. So the easiest transition to do with a factual AV is just a quick changeover. When you bring in arty graphics and everything else, it kind of distracts from the factual theme. Start with the base timeline of your soundtrack, then fit the images to that, and add the voice over it to fit. As a rule of thumb, transitions work best when they are 1/3 of the slide time. I.e., if the slideshow is 6 seconds, then the transition should be 2 seconds. And then you get that consistent rhythm. And then it will fit in with the factual base of what you want to portray. Yep. The next one is The Call of Africa.
Africa.
God, I hope Ian's not here tonight. Can I ask a favour? Can you go back to the start of this AV?
That one.
Yeah, the one we've just played. And can you play the first 10 seconds, please?
The Call of Africa.
The music kicks us off. You talk about Africa, it's exciting, it's vibrant. The vision for every photographer is, if you've never been to Africa, you want to go there. You want to go on safari. It needs vibrancy, it needs movement, it needs pan and zoom, it needs more than just the images going 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's not that they're bad images, they're great images. I've got an effective sequence of safari shots which sync well with the soundtrack and the voiceover. The poem is an emotive one, and the images used catch the theme well. The transitions and timing of the slides matched. The transition and timing of the slides, however, didn't quite match the sense of adventure from being on safari under the African skies. But other than that, it was very nicely done. But yeah, when you listen to the music, you've got that expectation that you're going to get something that's really going to get your blood pumping and everything else. And the first time I watched it, I was going, watched it again and again and again, and you start to get the feeling, but I still get this feeling within me that it really should have more movement in it. But that aside, it's still enough, and it's still good enough, and the images are good enough, and it combines good enough that that is an acceptance. So, geez, are we at number 7 already? Wow. Okay, trip to Xiaipu. Not here? Okay. They won't tell me all. After watching this AV, I had to look up where this was, and it's now on my bucket list for China next year. There are some very stunning, beautifully simple, minimalist images in this AV. Well done on those. Yeah, there is a but coming. But as an AV, there are a few mismatches, I'm sorry to say. Let us begin with reiterating that the secret to a good AV is to ensure that all of the separate parts work together. They need to blend seamlessly. Timing, images, the soundtrack, the transitions, they all blend together to create the final product. The initial intro is very abrupt here, as are the transmission timings. I'm also not sure that the speed of the transitions matches the images. The soundtrack especially jars, because why would you're in China, why would you use a Spanish soundtrack? Because you're in China. It just doesn't work. And jars with the scenes portrayed in your AV. Were there no local soundtracks available? This just doesn't fit the storyline. There are a number of images that appear out of sequence, and your ending is abrupt. The AV simply stops. No final image, no anything. You have some wonderful images, and they would make a beautiful slideshow base with a better choice of transition, slide timing, and soundtrack. I'd also be putting a few of those images into competition for sure. There's a sequence. I've given it highly commended because the basics are there. And there is a beautiful sequence of minimalist images with the boat and the nets and the mud banks and everything else. And that's the bit that I keep going back to and thinking, okay, I'll forgive you for that because these are so good. So I've given that a highly commended.
Thank you, Kevin.
Can I just add that I have a phrase they use, and I'm allowed to do this because I'm Jewish. 10 rabbis, 20 opinions. Okay, 10 photographers, 100 million opinions. All right. Everything about judging and viewing, it's semantics. It's my observations and my point of view that comes from 25 way too much years of experience of making AVs and working as a professional photographer. Am I right? God, I don't know. All I can give you is my opinion. You as the viewer have to work out yourselves what you like and what you don't. But with AVs, the factual basis is there for everyone when you're doing AVs. If you study them and you do them and you're looking at programs, you have to get all the bits to fit together. And when you don't get the bits to fit together, it just doesn't work. Thank you.
Right, now we'll do the awards.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey? Oh. Yeah, we'll do the awards, and then Kevin's got a couple of AVs to show us, which will be great.
Which aren't very good.
I should have explained right at the start that the highly commendeds aren't as high as an acceptance.
Yeah.
So, because, yeah, they're very good, but they're probably not quite at an acceptance level. So the first one up was a highly commended for a trip to
Xiaopu.
Anyuan, LPSNZ.
Not here.
Another highly commended, on the way home, Diana Andrews, LPSNZ.
I'll come to you, Diana.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Acceptance. The Call of Africa, Ian Walls, FPSNZ. Yep. He's here too.
Is he here? I didn't see you there, Ian. Good to see you, mate. I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
Don't run me over when I'm leaving.
And this is the first time for CPS. This is an acceptance and a best in show and the winning 2025 winning audio visual for New Brighton Beach goes to Jan Bogue, LPSNZ. She gets.
Congratulations, Jan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Big surprise.
that's the first time you won that, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, we'll show your two.
Yes. I've got two. If everyone's still here after I show the first one, I'll show you the second one. But the first one is I am very proudly a new grandparent. Okay. Young Hudson Andrews Ewing was born on the 2nd of July this year, and he is the apple of our eye already. I have gone down. I was above the dog just, and now I'm below the dog and now Hudson, so in the pecking order at home. So Karen has waited a long time to be a grandmother. So I have a little slideshow. We did an impromptu photo shoot at Nicole, our daughter's, and Jake's house in Prebbleton. And it's nice and simple. We just had the light shining through, backlit and everything else. Lovely little black and white. So please bear with me because I love showing everybody this at the moment. I'm sorry. I've spent 30 years doing photographs as other people's grandkids. It's nice to do my own. So yeah, Hudson. It was a very impromptu thing, and the reason we did an EV was because we had to send it to halfway around the planet and everywhere else. So But yeah, that's Hudson, our little grandchild. As I say, nothing but a curtain at the back and a sheet on the ground. My daughter was annoyed with Jake, our son-in-law, because he didn't shave. But he didn't even know we were going to do it. The next one is, there is no secret that my favourite place on the planet outside of New Zealand, because in New Zealand it's the Manutoro, outside of New Zealand is Tuscany, especially the Val d'Orcia, around Montepulciano, Pienza, Siena, and Montalcino. So the next slideshow lasts for about 5 or 6 minutes, I think. And it's just a collection of images that actually runs on my television at home. And it just sits going in the background again and again and again. So enjoy. we can stop it there. I hate this. And the reason I've shown you this is I'm a perfectionist, and I was working on it and working on it. And we had friends coming around for dinner, and Karen was getting more and more frustrated because I was spending more time on the computer than helping her for dinner and setting up and everything. And she said, for God's sake, just put it up on the screen and be done with it. So I literally went, auto transitions, everything else, didn't worry about anything, put it up on the screen, and it just played in the background. And the reason I keep it on screen is it reminds me it has to be right. Every time I look at it, I go, you know, and I don't feel like doing something properly. I look at that and I go, no, I'm going to finish this. And she understands now because she likes all the transitions and the difference because it means she's not bored when she's watching it. But I detest it. So yeah, always, always, always stick to your principles and do it right. Oh yeah, but an AV, it's got to all work together.
No. Oh, well. I have turned it on. Oh, the battery's gone flat.
Do you want to borrow mine?
I'll just yell. Because there's transitions there I've never seen.
Oh, sorry. That is a story in itself. I used to use Pro Show Producer, which I absolutely loved. And then they decided they sold, the American company that owned it sold it to an Indian company who decided it'd be a great idea to form a new company, stop everything they did with Pro Show Producer and all the Pro Show Gold and everything else. So much so that if you put it on another computer, you couldn't re-register it. They just says, oh, no, it's not the same company, but they literally went from 32-bit to 64-bit. And the new product has just got a different name, but it costs subscription. It costs about $600-700 a year now. So I don't use it anymore. This was made with Movavi, and it costs $159 or something like that US for a lifetime license. And then you get 12 months worth of upgrades and stuff like that. But even that has little things in it that if you try to use them, it'll say, oh, you need to pay extra for this and you need to pay extra for that. It's annoying. I still haven't found something that fits as good as Pro Show Producer did.
Yeah, I know what you mean, because a lot of us in the club had Pro Show Gold.
Yeah. Well, same thing. Pro Show Producer was just the pro version of it.
Right. Yeah, as soon as we changed computers or something happened, we seemed to lose it. And
Yeah, that's what they did. They took the servers down so you couldn't re-register it. And there's a guy in the US took them to court and he lost.
Oh, crikey.
It's tough out there. There's no real magic machine that does it other than the new version of Pro Show Gold.
Yeah, well, it's spent a lot of money. Yeah.
Is there a time of year that you go to Tuscan and take those mists?
Yes, April, May. The other reason for April, May is springtime is you've got the poppies and you get the reds. We also go in September as well now, and not this year, and just too busy with tours for an American company, but in September you get a completely different view of what happens, and you get all the furrowed fields and the harvest and everything else. But any time of year there is beautiful. And cold in winter.
Oh, thank you very much,
Thank
Kevin.
you.
And on behalf of the club, could you please accept that?
Thank you.
Thank you. Great comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you again for listening to Ian. Give me 5 minutes start, please.
Awesome. That's our evening concluded then. So thank you to, who have we got on there? I thought there was Tim earlier. Sorry? Tim leaves early. Alistair. I've got your name. Yeah, Alistair. Oh, sorry, Alistair. I was looking at you, calling you, looking at me strangely. Thank you for that. And who opened? Yes, John. Yes, a big thank you to everyone who entered. It's a big thing to put your work out there. I have a program that I use on my my phone, which is the GoPro one. So when I'm doing videos or taking photos, if I'm out walking with my groups, I'll throw them onto the GoPro. I mean, it does have their logo at the end, but they play quite well through. So it's another option, and it was free. Yeah, so it's cool. Cool. So is there any further information, or drive home safely and have a great evening? Yes, sir.
Can I ask what size images you put in for the slideshow? Is it the same as for a normal picture? Just looking at the volume and position, that's all.
Yeah, the first thing I ask, can everyone hear me okay? Yeah, the first thing I look at is, no matter what it is it going to be played on? 95%, or a lot of people now have 4K screens, and they're all 16:9 screens. So the format I do normally is 16:9. The hardest part with anything is making your image fit. So if you want to fill the frame, then put it the same ratio as the screen. So if the screen's 3840, 3840. If it's a vertical image, then if you're filling the frame, what I do is I don't like my image going top to bottom. So if you notice, the verticals always had big wide borders, top and bottom. That's what I'll do. I'll increase the size of the file by, if it's a 12-inch frame, I'll make it 16 inches top to bottom. So there's always a big 2-inch border that separates the image and sits it either in the middle, the center, or whatever. If you're putting them, if it's in the middle and you want the whole background to be white, just do it a 16:9, say 3/8, or 1800 format. Is it 1800? I can't remember my brain's not working at the moment. It's been a big long day. But you fill the screen with a white background, and then you place your image in that, and then flatten the image in Photoshop if you've got Photoshop. If you've got verticals, and you've got 2 or 3 verticals, it's quite nice to do it like an album where you've got first image goes here, second image goes there, and third image goes there, and you put the 3 in sequence, and then you blend them, so you get this lovely flow, and then where that's disappearing, this one's coming in, and then that disappears, and that comes in. So there's lots of stuff like that you do, but...
So how many pixels along the leading edge?
Depends on what screen you're looking at. If you're fitting it on... If you've got a 4K TV, you might as well use the 4K. So is that 3840, whatever it is? Yeah.
So if you were doing an AD for next year, that's what you would do?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. If you've got the capacity to do it at 4K, then do it at 4K. Fill the screen, go a few books, but if you don't, it's like driving a Ferrari in 3rd gear. You might as well make use of technology, even if you don't like doing it. Yeah, again, there's no right or wrong when it comes to the visuals, whether you like them or not, because that's personal opinion. But the technical side and the basics, as in photography, are exactly the same, no matter what you do as an AV.
Oh yes, the hand-in for PI7 is this evening, everyone. So if you haven't put anything in, go home and find something. Be really good. Okay,